So Clark, do you like Pokemon?
Yes.
What is your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite character in Pokemon is Charmander.
Okay.
Charmander.
Hey Rosie, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Okay, so we've been talking about the tension between humanism and technology, which is at the center of many Japanese animated productions. For the rest of this video, we're going to be looking at anime that focus on childhood and coming-of-age narratives, and yet still reflect this concern for the dangers of technology, which links back to this fear of the loss of tradition. You know, some of it is related to the fears of Americanization, but some of it is related to generational conflicts as well. As we're going to see in the works of Hayao Miyazaki and Satoshi Tajiri, a lot of these fears manifest themselves in these narratives of children and their relationship to the environment. Harmony with nature, respect for tradition. Now, tying into both nature and tradition, many stories in both anime and manga are drawn from Shinto, Japan's traditional religion. In Shinto, there are 8 million deities, and if you don't know anything about it, I recommend that you look it up. I'll link to a resource on Shinto. But we can see the influence of Shinto in Japanese popular culture through the treatment of demons and spirits, the way that death is treated, the way that we see heroes and villains being represented, and we definitely see it in the work of Hayao Miyazaki. But we're going to talk more about Hayao Miyazaki in the next video, which is going to introduce our screening for this week. For the rest of this video, I just want to say a couple things about Pokemon. Pokemon was such a pervasive cultural force in the late 90s and into the 2000s that it does deserve a mention here. I mean, it wasn't just a Game Boy game. It wasn't just a card game. It's not just an incredibly successful game today, but it was also a television series. It was a series of movies. And I think it's especially interesting to look at in regard to its foregrounding of traditional cultural values, of samurai values, and the importance of respecting nature and tradition. Now, the last time I taught this class, Pokemon Go was not even a thing, so Pokemon is now something that's on your radar probably more than it would have been 4 years ago. The TV series and movies evolved out of the wildly successful Game Boy game created by Satoshi Tajiri, who wanted children of a new generation to have a chance to collect insects and other creatures the way that he did growing up in a rural area of Japan. So if you see from the very beginning, there's this kind of respect for nature and this kind of desire to maintain some kind of a traditional notion of childhood. But here's the short version of the Pokemon story. Our hero Ash Ketchum leaves home at the age of 10 on a training journey in order to become a Pokemon master. So Pokemon themselves, as you know, are indigenous creatures with various powers which can be caught and used to fight battles. A Pokemon trainer collects these creatures and trains them to compete against other Pokemon trainers' Pokemon. An intrepid trainer travels to different Pokemon gyms to challenge gym leaders and earn badges by defeating them. With 10 badges, a trainer is eligible to enter the Pokemon League, an Olympics-like event to showcase talent and crown a Pokemon master. Now, as you can probably already tell, Pokemon places children at the center of the narrative, often with little or no parental supervision whatsoever, and this is often true in Miyazaki's films too, by the way. I mean, we've got Kiki's Delivery Service and Castle in the Sky, for example. There are older figures that are peppered throughout the narrative for guidance, but the essential choices belong to the underage protagonists. And this notion of early independence is not unheard of in Japanese culture. By the way, that's Ash's family right there, not Ms. T.M. Brock. But traditionally, children are allowed a great deal of autonomy from around the age of 3 in order to learn social skills. So given a degree of kind of protected freedom by the community child-rearing mentality, children are shown at a very early age that they can venture out on their own path if they adhere to the strict rule structure introduced by parents. So they're expected to exercise independence in personal habits, eating, grooming, but also maintain an attitude of morality and obedience and think of others, not cause any trouble. But just as Japanese children are taught to respect others and value ties of friendship and obligation, Pokemon trainers are instructed to have empathy with their Pokemon to ensure mastery in the game and a successful solo journey, but also accept and stick to the rules of play. And so there's this emphasis that's placed on respect for nature, respect for others, and the value of ritual. So Pokemon foregrounds this notion of learning how to be a good person through hardship. Through experiences on a journey of self-discovery, a child learns how to function well in society. But I would like to reiterate that there is a lot out there. The original Indigo League series is actually on Netflix, as I discovered yesterday when my children begged to watch it, and now they're really into it. So I would like to reiterate here that we have only scratched the surface when it comes to Pokemon, and there's lots more reading to do if you have time, and I will post some resources for you. I think that's it for this video. In the next one, we'll pick up with Miyazaki, and I will set you up for watching Princess Mononoke.